I've been waking up later and later because it's, you know, dark until forever. So, oh my gosh, I don't know. I woke up not long ago. So I feel a little like I'm rushing around. It'll be good to be in one spot for an hour. How's everybody doing? Pretty good? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Geez, hell of a week, yeah? Oh my God. Whew, we're gonna lay down today for a while. I'm thinking that's, yes, kind of the plan. And as always, there are options to do things that are strong and not laying around, but I don't know. I just want to encourage you to rest if you want to or need to. It's important. We like, I don't know, culturally, we have this like switch, I feel, that we like as a whole have just turned off, like this understanding of our need to rest. So it's our job to kind of turn that back on. All right, take a little time to get yourself settled on your belly. And it might be nice today, as we begin, to roll up a blanket, just like a little something or other. Place it on the middle of your mat. Oh, and just come to lie down on it so that the blanket's sort of underneath your hip points, if possible, if that works for you. You can start your music right away too, if you plan on using any music. Morning, hi everyone. Welcome, I think I see the sun poking through. What a feeling. Awesome. All right, so turning your music on, coming to lie down on your belly, maybe with a blanket underneath your hip points. And as you come to lie down on your belly, first try turning your head to one side or the other and just kind of notice how that feels. And if one side feels okay to stay, you might stay with your head turned, or you might decide to take your hands and stack them and rest your forehead on the back of your hands. That's another thought. Good. So just finding this spot on your belly. And as you find your belly, just let the ground hold you. When big things happen, we, rightfully get really activated. And when we activate, our muscles really, they go into work mode. Maybe we clench our jaw a little bit. Maybe we clench our belly or our glutes. And it's something that we do, without even realizing it most of the time. So just scan through the obvious parts of yourself that could use a little bit of loosening. Your jaw, your glutes, your belly, your feet, your hands. Good. Just taking a few breaths here to kind of greet your body on this day. Okay, greeting your body with a little bit of kindness and a little bit of reverence. Good. Letting your breath be whatever it needs to be this morning. It could be in and out of the nose, nice and calm. Maybe you need a whole bunch of exhales. A whole bunch of kind of dramatic exhales. Taking a moment to Notice what your low back is feeling like, especially around your kidneys, right above your sacrum, on either side of your spine. And if your head is turned over to one side, flip it over to the other side, and we'll just hang here for maybe like another 2 minutes or so. Allowing yourself to soften, really get heavy into the floor, but also noticing that lift of breath through the back plane of the body as you inhale. And I stumbled across this poem this week by James Baldwin. It says, "For nothing is fixed, forever, forever, forever. It is not fixed. The earth is always shifting. The light is always changing. The sea does not cease to grind down rock. Generations do not cease to be born, and we are responsible to them because we are the only witnesses they have. The sea rises, the light fails, lovers cling to each other, and children cling to us. The moment we cease to hold each other, the moment we break faith with one another, the sea engulfs us and the light goes out." Maybe 5 more breaths here. Nice. So much cat action today, making me very happy. Good. One more really good breath here, whatever that sounds like for you today. Right. And then we're going to make our way into a back bend of your choosing, maybe for about a minute or so. It could be you coming into, well, first of all, if you have something under your hips, you might take it away. You might come into a low cobra, which is kind of an active pose, your hands on the floor. You're really using those muscles around your kidneys at your mid-back to hold you up. If you want to go the passive route, take your elbows under your shoulders and come into your Sphinx pose, a little bit more of like a low belly stretch. And you might do both and just decide, what works best for right now. We'll take about 5 breaths or so. Noticing the way the front of the body feels, the back of the body, the weight of your pelvis. Good. A big breath in here, and then as you exhale, just set yourself down. And we're going to take a little half frog shape. So drag that left knee up towards the left side of your chest. And you can do any old thing you want with your arms. Your hands can be stacked under your head. Sometimes I like to take my left hand and just kind of, casually touch my knee or my calf or my thigh. Or sometimes curling up your arms under your chest. Good. Holding yourself here. And just watching that breath flow through. Good. And take notice if you're clenching your left glutes. Good. See if your jaw can find some more ease.
Let's take about 10 more deep breaths over on this side. You can keep your knee bent, or you could extend that left leg out to the side and you mount. Sometimes I like to kind of roll the sole of my foot down towards the floor to get a little bit more of an opening or sense of relief through the inner part of my thigh. Good. Last couple breaths here with your left knee up towards the chest or that left leg out long. Good. And then send that leg long behind you. Let's grab a hold of the left foot with the left hand. You might prop yourself up on your right arm. If you have a strap nearby, you could use the strap too if needed. Just taking a couple of moments with the left thigh and the knee. Right, and then allow that left foot to just settle down to the floor behind you, and we'll all prop ourselves up into a Sphinx pose. And so in your Sphinx, your elbows are sort of under your shoulders, somewhere around there. And really think about what you want to do with the lower body. Like today, for instance, I feel more inclined to point my toes outwards and have my feet a little bit wider. But you might want to have your big toes touching, your legs long behind. It's up to you. And let's just settle in here for a couple of minutes, like a full yin hold. You can drop the head down and give it a little roll. Good. This week I've been thinking a lot about this idea of like a sacred space and where that could possibly be. Because we all have them, right? And the first thing I came up with was like your very own body. It's one of those places. So maybe for these next like 2 minutes or so, just breathing into your body and breathing in your home as you would if you had just stepped into some kind of really special place to you. Approaching yourself with that bit of reverence. Good. Another 3 big breaths here. All right. And then as you set yourself down, you might decide to rock both of your lower legs side to side a little bit for some low back release. Another thought is coming up into a forearm plank, which I'm not going to demonstrate because I'm kind of too tired. But you might bring your elbows under your shoulders, tuck the toes underneath, and lift your hips away from the floor. Yeah, that's a really nice way to use up like intense nervous energy if anybody's been carrying a little bit of that around, or a lot of that. Good. If you're up in your forearm plank, thinking about really pressing back through the heels and engaging the inner thighs up and back. Nice. Yeah, and then whenever you feel like it's time, we're going to settle into our half frog pose on the other side. So we'll bring that right knee up towards the right side of the chest and arrange your upper body so that things are really good and comfortable. Good. Breathing here with a little bit of purpose, a little bit of conscious breathing instead of just passive and accepting. Good. Thinking about lengthening your breath a little bit if possible. And as you take these big long breaths, notice the way that your body sort of lifts and lowers and rocks. Maybe where your body is moving the most and the least. Good. About another 10 big breaths here. And you could extend that right leg out long into the side, or you can stay kind of cozied up in the half frog with your knee bent. If you've extended your leg out long to the side, consider sort of turning the foot so that you're pressing the sole towards the floor. Yeah, little outer ankle, inner thigh opening. Hmm. Nice. 3 breaths more. All right, let's send that right leg nice and long behind, and then reach back for your right foot with your right hand. You might keep your upper body down towards the floor. You could prop yourself up. Hmm. Good. Just a couple more breaths here, not too long. Really take notice of your knee and how it feels. Perfect. And then go ahead and release that right leg behind you. And we're going to lift up into another back bend. So it might be Sphinx, it might be Seal. If you want to do something active here, you could take like a locust shape. You could take a Cobra. And just kind of choosing your favorites. If you've chosen a passive variation, take the head and neck out of it. Give yourself a little release there, dropping the head. Good, a big breath in. And then we're gonna drop ourselves back down to the mat. Turn the head to the side and just kind of shake your butt a little bit. You shake your pelvis. You let the muscles, your glutes really kind of release, relax if possible. And let's stop here in stillness on our bellies just for a few more breaths. Really notice the way the lower back moves. Perfect. Let's take our hands under our shoulders. And, I think we're gonna take a puppy pose. So let's stretch the arms out nice and long. Set your head down on the floor. Your hips are above your knees. I really like crossing my ankles here. Kind of like closing the gate. Good. Okay, and inevitably there's one part of us that's kind of talking the loudest in any given shape. So bring your attention to whatever part that is for you right now, where you're feeling the most sensation. And just let your breath be steady and observe what happens in that place. Good, just a couple more breaths here in your puppy pose. All right, so from here, just walk your hands back and we're gonna come to either sit on the heels or maybe to stand on the knees if sitting back on the heels doesn't quite feel right. And I'm thinking of an ankle stretch. So sometimes sitting on the knees or the heels is enough of an ankle stretch, all right? If you're sitting on your heels and you want a little bit more of an intensity at the top of the feet and the ankles, you could take that rolled blanket and place it underneath the knees maybe. Another option is to find some balance, really picking up those knees, kind of leaning back. And maybe we'll just sit here for a minute or something like that. Good. Sitting here for a minute, observing yourself and the way that you're breathing. Good. Maybe just another 3 deep breaths or so in your ankle stretch. Awesome. If you've got the blanket underneath your knees, you can take it away. And we'll just, we'll find hands and knees actually. On hands and knees, it might feel nice to kind of tap your feet against the floor a little bit or tuck your toes underneath and just kind of lean those hips back towards the heels. And think about your hands and your wrists too. Okay, if you want to turn your fingertips around or to the side, that's an option. And conversely, if you want to make like fists, tucking your thumbs in, really press your knuckles into the ground, that's another option that's really lovely. Good, so maybe trying both here. And then those intuitive movements of the spine. Good, really taking notice of the parts of you that need a little wiggle. And just checking in with yourself here for like 5 more breaths or so. It might look like you extending one leg out behind you and then the opposite arm forward for a breath or two, taking your little bit of balance. Good. But then eventually we're all just going to shift back into a super wide knee child's pose. Okay, so a little less like in between a frog and a child's pose. Good. Allow your chest to settle down, maybe onto like a blanket or the floor. And it might feel nice to thread your arms back so that they kind of cross underneath you. And one hand grabs for a heel, the opposite heel. The other hand grabs for the other heel. Your head turns to the side. Good. Just breathing here and allowing the breath to move your body. There's a chapter in the Tao Te Ching where they talk about how cutting doors and windows in walls is what makes the room useful. I like to think about practicing the shapes and taking the deep breaths as like cutting those windows and doors. Giving our body a little bit of breathing room, acknowledging space. Yeah, if you have your arms crossed underneath you, switch the cross of your arms and turn your head to the other side. And maybe just a few more breaths here. Good, and then from here, let's just lift ourselves back up. We're gonna take the knees out in front of us and we'll stand up on the knees and take like a little baby camel pose. And so it doesn't have to look like much, but ideally your hip points are kind of right up above the knees and your glutes are engaged. Good, and then maybe the upper body kind of lifts and you might look up or back. Collarbones broaden. Good, eventually we're going to take ourselves into a
everybody's favorite toe squat. So finding your block or maybe your blanket, we'll tuck the toes underneath. I like to do, with prop mounting here. Ideally, all of your toes are tucked underneath. If that means you have to like really set up the props to get there, then go for it. Makes a big difference. And just kind of notice the soles of the feet this morning, how they feel. Sitting up tall is just not quite your thing here. You could be on hands and knees too and tuck your toes under. Yeah, good. All right, we will hang out just for maybe 5 breaths. Right, and let's find a standing forward fold. Just release out of this. Stretch your legs long, let your head drop down. Good, and think about maybe widening your stance a little bit. As you widen your stance, you might grab a hold of your elbows too. Good, and it might feel nice to take a little swing from side to side with the upper body. So as you swing to the left, your chest opens to the right. As you swing to the right, your chest opens to the left. Maybe it's a little bit more gentle. And hanging out here for about 20 breaths or so. Just a thought that if you wanted to stretch the chest and shoulders a bit more, you might take standing yoga mudra, interlacing your fingers behind your back and pressing your knuckles up and over. So the kidney meridian that we're focusing on today has 27 points. And it's located on the front of the body. It starts right around those upper ribs, right near the collarbone. And then travels down either side of the midline of the front of the body, and then the inner leg, the inner ankle, and then it finally rests in the sole of the foot. Actually, no, I have that backwards. It starts in the sole of the foot, and then it travels up. Yeah, up into the rib cage. Good, so a couple more breaths folding forward here. Really notice the back of your legs, the back of your neck. Okay, very slowly bend those knees and softly roll yourself up. And here's where we will use our ball. So if you have a ball around, let's grab a hold of it. We're going to take the ball down and we're going to activate our kidney 1 point, which is, so imagine the ball mound of your foot, like right in the middle, right near your, where your second and third toe web is. Right where the arch meets the ball of the foot. So it's that space where the color changes. And the tennis ball is definitely bigger than the point. So approximate where you think that might be. And we're just going to take the ball underneath the foot. You might decide to kind of step into the ball if you're feeling it. If just placing your foot there is good enough, then stay there. And notice your other foot on the floor. And then notice if you're kind of upright or if you're schlumpy in the shoulders. And stand up kind of tall. Yeah. Broaden those collarbones. Good. Maybe another breath or two. All right, and I just want to throw out an option here. Let's take the ball kind of off to the side a little bit. And two things, either you can stand up here in your mountain pose, or you can stand on the foot that you just rolled out and kind of swing that other leg around. Okay, so depending on, yeah, I mean, are you feeling energetic or you just want to hold still? Wow. Good. After another breath or two, just set that foot back down. We'll all find a mountain pose. Good. And let's shake our shoulders out. Maybe here a wide stance. Let's take our hands to our lower back and maybe almost like a little bit of a standing camel pose, but with wide feet before folding yourself forward. Good. You might decide to take your hands to your lower back where your kidneys are. Just give that area a little, like maybe like a raking with your fingertips or your fingernails. And we'll take maybe 10 more breaths here. You might decide to just hang forward, or if you're feeling like a little bit of inner thigh opening, you might take a deep knee bend from side to side, maybe hanging out on one side for like 5 breaths, and on the other side for like 5 breaths. And allowing yourself to really feel your feet on the ground. Good. Yeah, one more breath, or maybe 2. Good. All right, and coming on out of this, we're just gonna roll ourselves back up to standing, step the feet a little closer, and we'll grab that ball and find kidney 1 on the other foot. So I'm on my left foot now, maybe you're on the other side. You might decide to like step into it, really press into it, or maybe you're just letting the ball sit underneath your foot. That's good too. And sometimes when I place the ball under this particular point, there's like this tensing that happens in my body. So scan through and notice if you're like, I don't know, mostly feeling it in the glutes. That's usually where I have it. Maybe you've scrunched your face up or something. All right, thinking about standing up nice and tall, broadening those collarbones. Just a little bit longer. All right, go ahead and release the ball from underneath your foot. And you can send it away for now. Now stand up on that foot. either your mountain pose or your little bit of swinging, balancing. Good. Yeah, another breath or two. All right, set yourself down. Take your mountain pose one more time. Let's bring the hands together at the heart. And just this simple act of spreading the fingers out nice and wide. Connect your thumbs to your sternum. Good. This broadening of the collarbones. Good. Exhale and fold yourself forward. Awesome. So we're going to come down into a seated position now. It might be nice to have a little something underneath your hips. Good. How about a butterfly pose? We'll bring the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide. And as you find your butterfly pose, I don't know, I think I want to allot like a good, like 2 minutes or so, 2 or 3 minutes to being here. You might decide to massage your feet a bit. If you're massaging your feet, focus on the inner edge of your foot. All right, your inner ankle. Good. Your inner arch. You might even take your thumbs and look for that kidney 1 point at the bottom of your foot, right there where the color changes, right under your second and third toe web. Good. If folding forward is something that you like to do, you're always welcome to fold forward. Nice. If you're folding forward, really pay attention to the way that things feel around your sacrum and your lower back. Good. Just about another 5 breaths or so here. Awesome. All right, let's sit ourselves up. And we're going to take that left leg out nice and long to the side and kind of tuck that right foot in a little bit more. Right, give yourself a moment to sit up nice and tall here. Maybe even take your hands to your foot or your ankle and kind of clasp and place a little pressure on the tops of the toes. Nice, and then we're going to take a little side body stretch so your hand can really be wherever it needs to be, that left hand. The right arm might reach up and over. Maybe you're even taking your right hand to the left side of your head for a little bit of neck support. If you want to reach down for your left foot with your left hand, you're welcome to. Good. Breathing deeply, really feel that right hip point, right sitting bone settle in towards the floor.
Good, and then we're gonna take a little turn out over that left leg and just kind of fold in here. And you might lift yourself up and settle down. And breathing for yourself, for the sacred body of yours that carries you around every day. And breathing into the walls around you, the doors, the windows, the space where you are. Good. Very slowly start to lift yourself up and out of this one. You're going to take your right hand down to the ground behind you, and a couple of options. You can just like casually like lean back, drop your head back. That might feel good. If you want to take a stargazer shape, you can lift your hips and stretch that left arm long. And if you've taken that stargazer shape, or even if you're sitting, you might take the arm in a few big circles, a couple circles in each direction. Going ahead and settling back down here. And why don't we find another butterfly shape? So there are a few options even in this pose. You could have your feet really far out in front of you. You can pull them in really close, somewhere in between. Another thing you could do is take your feet a little bit apart in front of you and just have your knees out to the sides and fold in on yourself. And hanging in here for maybe like another 2 minutes or so. And so this kidney 1 point on the bottom of our foot is kind of like our connection between, like our energetic connection with nature. It's said that there are different types of chi being like an energetic blueprint. And the earth gives us a very specific type of chi. And for those of us who spend a lot of time outside or really feel different when we're outdoors, we know this. This is reality, not just some BS. So it's said that earth chi enters through your kidney 1 point. It's nice to make it a little more sensitive, be a little bit more aware of it. And it's definitely cold out there, but even placing like a rock or something under your foot. I collect creek stones, and that's a really nice thing to kind of place under that point. Good. Another 5 breaths or so in your butterfly. Good. Start to lift yourself up and out of this one, and we'll extend the right leg out long. As you send that right leg long, a little side body stretch so that left arm could reach up here. Right hand wherever it needs to be.
Maybe you're cradling your head with your left hand. Hmm. Good. One more breath here. And then we'll take that little turn over towards the right leg. And then as you fold forward, just take notice if a little lift up and lowering would be helpful. Good. And sitting and noticing and breathing into your body. Hmm. Good. One more breath. Alrighty, lifting yourself up. Oh man, there's always so much I want to do and so little time. So I want to throw out a few different options for how you might close things out. We've been kind of working towards a full frog pose. So if you love yourself a frog, you could go there. In frog, you just take your knees out nice and wide. Your ankles are kind of, at 90 degrees from your hips. Maybe you're lowering your chest down. Okay, that's number one. It's kind of intense. You might also find your back and just take a couple of twists from side to side, or a restorative bridge pose with a block under your pelvis or a bolster. Yeah. There's definitely time for at least two of those, and possibly all three if you really want to. But I'm going to suggest maybe one or two. And really considering what you need today, because at the end of the day, this practice is about kind of maintaining that bit of inner lightness. Right? Maintaining your sense of ease in the world as much as you can. Sometimes it takes a bit of movement to get there. Other times stillness is the doorway. Good. And remembering that we practice not only for our own benefit and well-being, but also everybody that we come into contact with benefits in some way, I think. One of the aims of a yoga practice is to be able to acknowledge that we're not separate really from anybody or anything. We're not separate from the cycles of nature We're not separate from the cycles of humanity, other plants, animals. We're all kind of in it together in some way. And I love that Baldwin poem because he talks about responsibility, right, and the importance of that. We're responsible to each other. I see that most of you have found stillness. Good. And there's about 4 minutes remaining. So if you haven't yet chosen a final shape, it's a good time to get there. So, for nothing is fixed forever, forever, forever. It is not fixed. The earth is always shifting. The light is always changing. The sea does not cease to grind down rock. Generations do not cease to be born, and we are responsible to them because we are the only witnesses they have. The sea rises, the light fails, lovers cling to each other, and children cling to us. The moment we cease to hold each other, the moment we break faith with one another, the sea engulfs us and the light goes out. These last few minutes, just tending to your own inner light. It's in there somewhere. Maybe your inner light requires some big breaths. A repetition of some kind of intention or idea about how you want to move into your day or your week. Good. Just a few more breaths here in this final pose that you've chosen. Right. And then, yeah, all the little wiggles that you need. Any kind of movement to come out of the shape you're in. Perfect. Taking a little time to find a seated position. We'll all kind of meet sitting there. And let's just take the thumb edge of our hands to either side of our sternum. So kind of like these little blades. And we're just going to do this a few times. This little bit of like a scraping motion. Good. Just a couple more breaths. All right, and then rest your fingertips somewhere near your heart. Maybe it's on either side of the sternum, or you might decide to stack your hands. Notice your heartbeat. And open up your arms nice and wide, stretch your fingertips out. And bring your hands back to your heart, bringing it all in. Drop the head down, honoring your practice and honoring each other too. Oh, yay. Happy Sunday, everybody.